You sink into your favorite chair after a long day, ready to finally unwind and let go of the stress you've been carrying. You close your eyes, take a deep breath, and wait for that familiar feeling of muscles loosening and mind quieting that should come with rest. But instead of relaxation, you notice your shoulders are still tense, your jaw is clenched, your breathing remains shallow, and your mind continues racing through tomorrow's to-do list. You try harder to relax, focusing on releasing each muscle group, but the harder you try, the more elusive relaxation becomes. You wonder if you've forgotten how to relax, if the ability has somehow been lost in the chaos of modern life. You watch other people who seem to effortlessly shift from activity to rest, who can sit quietly without fidgeting, who can actually enjoy leisure time without feeling guilty or restless. You start to think there's something wrong with you, that you're just naturally high-strung, or that relaxation is a luxury you simply can't afford given all your responsibilities. What if I told you that your inability to relax has nothing to do with your personality, your willpower, or your life circumstances? What if this constant state of tension and restlessness is actually a symptom of a specific physiological dysfunction that affects millions of people, but is rarely recognized or addressed? What if there's a biological reason why your body seems to have forgotten how to truly let go? And more importantly, what if this dysfunction can be identified, understood, and healed? The answer lies in vagus nerve dysfunction, a condition where the longest and most important nerve in your body loses its ability to effectively coordinate your nervous system's shift from activation to relaxation. Your vagus nerve is supposed to be your body's master relaxation switch, the biological mechanism that tells your entire system when it's safe to let go, heal, and restore. When this nerve becomes dysfunctional, you lose access to genuine relaxation, no matter how much you want it or how hard you try to achieve it. Understanding relaxation requires understanding that it's not just a mental state or a choice you make. It's a specific physiological configuration of your nervous system. True relaxation involves your parasympathetic nervous system taking over from your sympathetic nervous system, your heart rate slowing down and becoming more variable, your breathing deepening and slowing, your blood pressure decreasing, your digestive system activating, your muscles releasing tension, and your brain waves shifting into patterns associated with calm alertness rather than vigilant scanning. This entire cascade of physiological changes is orchestrated primarily by your vagus nerve. When your vagus nerve is functioning properly, it can trigger this relaxation response within minutes of deciding to rest. You can literally feel your body shifting gears, like a car moving from high speed to idle. Your system knows how to downregulate, how to move from a state of doing to a state of being, from activation to restoration. But when your vagus nerve is dysfunctional, this natural transition becomes difficult or impossible. Your nervous system gets stuck in patterns of chronic sympathetic activation, unable to access the parasympathetic states that allow for genuine relaxation. You might be physically still, but your nervous system remains vigilant, alert, and slightly activated. Your body never gets the signal that it's truly safe to let go. Vagus nerve dysfunction develops gradually, often over years of chronic stress, inadequate recovery, poor lifestyle habits, or traumatic experiences that dysregulate your nervous system. The modern world is particularly harsh on vagal function because it provides constant stimulation without adequate periods of true rest and restoration. Your nervous system becomes trained to expect threats and demands at any moment, so it never fully relaxes its defensive posture. Think of your nervous system like a security guard who's been on duty for too long. Initially, the guard was alert and responsive, able to distinguish between real threats and false alarms, capable of relaxing during quiet periods while remaining ready to respond when needed. But after months or years of constant vigilance without adequate breaks, the guard becomes jumpy, paranoid, and unable to ever truly rest. Every small sound becomes a potential threat. Every quiet moment feels suspicious rather than peaceful. This is exactly what happens with vagus nerve dysfunction. Your nervous system loses its ability to accurately assess safety and threat, defaulting to a state of subtle but persistent activation. Even when you're in objectively safe environments, doing relaxing activities, your nervous system maintains a baseline level of vigilance that prevents true relaxation from occurring. The symptoms of vagus nerve dysfunction extend far beyond just difficulty relaxing, though that's often the most noticeable sign. People with vagal dysfunction typically experience shallow, rapid breathing even at rest, elevated resting heart rate, muscle tension that doesn't respond to stretching or massage, digestive issues despite healthy eating, sleep problems even. When exhausted, difficulty feeling genuinely calm or peaceful, hypervigilance to sounds and environmental changes, and an underlying sense of restlessness or unease that persists regardless of circumstances. Many people with vagus nerve dysfunction describe feeling tired but wired, exhausted but unable to truly rest, wanting to relax but feeling agitated. When they try to slow down, they might fall asleep quickly due to exhaustion, but wake up feeling unrefreshed because their nervous system never entered the deep restoration phases that quality sleep requires. The breathing patterns associated with vagal dysfunction are particularly telling. Healthy vagal function supports deep, diaphragmatic breathing with natural pauses between breaths and subtle variations in rhythm. Vagal dysfunction typically involves chest breathing rather than belly breathing, rapid or irregular breathing patterns, difficulty taking deep breaths, and breathing that feels effortful rather than automatic. Many people don't realize how much their breathing patterns reflect their nervous system state. When you can't breathe deeply and slowly, it's often not because of lung problems, but because your nervous system is maintaining a state of subtle activation that keeps your respiratory system primed for action rather than relaxation. Heart rate variability, or HRV, provides another window into vagal function. Healthy nervous systems show natural variations in the timing between heartbeats, with the heart rate speeding up slightly during inhalation and slowing down during exhalation. This variability is controlled by the vagus nerve and reflects a nervous system that's flexible and responsive. People with vagus nerve dysfunction often have very low heart rate variability, meaning their hearts beat in rigid, inflexible patterns. This reflects a nervous system that's stuck in sympathetic activation without the balancing influence of healthy parasympathetic function. The heart can't adjust appropriately to different demands because the vagal brake isn't working properly. The digestive implications of vagal dysfunction are significant because the vagus nerve plays crucial roles in coordinating digestive function. When you're truly relaxed, your parasympathetic nervous system activates what's called the rest and digest response, where blood flow increases to your digestive organs, digestive enzymes are released, and your gut can properly process food and absorb nutrients. But when vagal function is compromised, digestive function remains suppressed even during meals and rest periods. You might experience bloating, gas, indigestion, food sensitivities, or other digestive issues that don't seem related to what you're eating. These symptoms often reflect nervous system dysfunction rather than actual digestive problems. The inflammatory aspects of vagal dysfunction create another barrier to relaxation. Your vagus nerve is responsible for what researchers call the inflammatory reflex, your body's ability to detect inflammation and activate anti-inflammatory responses. When vagal tone is low, this reflex becomes sluggish, allowing inflammation to become chronic and systemic. Chronic inflammation doesn't just affect your physical health. It directly impacts your nervous system function and your ability to feel calm and relaxed. Inflammatory chemicals in your bloodstream send alarm signals to your brain, essentially telling your nervous system that something is wrong and it needs to stay alert. This creates a cycle where inflammation prevents relaxation, and the inability to relax maintains inflammation. Sleep disturbances are both a cause and consequence of vagal dysfunction. Quality sleep requires your nervous system to shift into parasympathetic dominance, allowing for the deep restoration that happens during slow-wave sleep phases. When your vagus nerve isn't functioning properly, this transition becomes difficult or incomplete. You might fall asleep because you're exhausted, but your nervous system never fully shifts into restoration mode. You spend more time in light sleep phases and less time in the deep restorative phases that actually replenish your energy and process stress. You wake up feeling like you never really rested because, in many ways, your nervous system didn't. The social and relational impacts of vagal dysfunction are often overlooked, but equally important. Your vagus nerve is intimately involved in what researchers call social engagement, your ability to feel safe and relaxed in the presence of others. When vagal function is compromised, social interactions become more effortful and draining, rather than nourishing and restorative. Many people with vagal dysfunction find that they can't truly relax around other people, even loved ones. They might enjoy social activities, but feel like they're always on, monitoring social dynamics, managing their presentation, or scanning for potential conflicts. This constant low-level vigilance prevents the co-regulation opportunities that healthy relationships provide. Environmental sensitivities often increase with vagal dysfunction. Your nervous system becomes hypersensitive to sounds, lights, textures, and other environmental stimuli that wouldn't normally be problematic. You might find that you can only relax in very specific, controlled environments, and that unexpected noises or changes immediately trigger stress responses. This environmental hypersensitivity isn't psychological. It's a direct result of a nervous system that's lost its ability to filter and process sensory information appropriately. When your vagus nerve isn't providing adequate regulation, your threat detection systems become overactive, interpreting neutral stimuli as potential dangers. The perfectionism and control patterns that often accompany vagal dysfunction create additional barriers to relaxation. When your nervous system feels fundamentally unsafe, you might develop compensatory strategies that involve trying to control every aspect of your environment and experience. This hypervigilance and need for control becomes exhausting, but feels necessary for maintaining a sense of safety. Relaxation requires letting go of control, allowing things to be as they are, without constantly monitoring and adjusting. But when your vagus nerve isn't providing adequate safety signals, letting go of control feels dangerous rather than peaceful. You end up trapped between exhaustion and hypervigilance, wanting to rest, but unable to feel safe enough to truly let go. The trauma connection to vagal dysfunction is significant because traumatic experiences often dysregulate the nervous system in ways that persist long after the original events. Trauma can suppress vagal function and create patterns of chronic defensive activation that make relaxation feel threatening rather than safe. For many trauma survivors, relaxation triggers anxiety because their nervous systems have learned that letting their guard down is dangerous. Their vagus nerve has been suppressed by survival responses, and attempts to relax can actually increase feelings of vulnerability and activation. Healing from trauma often requires gradually restoring vagal function in safe, supported environments. Genetic and developmental factors in vagal dysfunction help explain why some people seem naturally more relaxed while others struggle with tension from early ages. Vagal tone has both genetic components and environmental influences. Some people are born with more resilient nervous systems, while others may have genetic predispositions that make them more susceptible to stress and more likely to develop vagal dysfunction. Early life experiences also profoundly shape vagal function. Children who grow up in safe, predictable environments with responsive caregivers tend to develop strong vagal tone and healthy stress responses. Children who experience chronic stress, trauma, or inconsistent caregiving may develop compromised vagal function. It persists into adulthood. The modern lifestyle factors that contribute to vagal dysfunction are pervasive and often invisible. Chronic work stress, financial pressure, relationship conflicts, social media exposure, news consumption, environmental toxins, processed foods, lack of physical activity, social isolation, and inadequate sleep all gradually erode vagal function. Over time, we've created an environment that systematically undermines the conditions necessary for healthy vagal function. Then wonder why so many people struggle with relaxation, anxiety, and stress-related health problems. Understanding this connection helps explain why individual approaches to stress management often fall short. The problem isn't just personal, but environmental and systemic. The good news is that vagal function is highly modifiable. Unlike some aspects of nervous system function that change slowly, the vagus nerve responds relatively quickly to specific interventions and lifestyle changes. This means that chronic tension and inability to relax aren't necessarily permanent conditions. They're often signs that your vagus nerve needs specific support to restore its natural regulatory capacity. Breathwork represents one of the most direct and accessible tools for restoring vagal function. Specific breathing patterns can directly stimulate your vagus nerve and begin to retrain your nervous system's capacity for relaxation. The key is breathing practices that extend your exhale longer than your inhale, activate your diaphragm, and create the physiological conditions that support parasympathetic activation. But effective breathwork for vagal restoration goes beyond just deep breathing exercises. It involves learning to use your breath as a tool for nervous system regulation throughout the day, not just during designated relaxation times. This might include breathing practices that help you transition between activities, breathing patterns that support better sleep, or breathing techniques that can quickly shift your nervous system state when you notice tension building. Cold exposure therapy can be remarkably effective for restoring vagal function because it provides a controlled stressor that activates your nervous system and then allows for natural recovery. When you expose your body to cold water or air, it initially triggers a stress response, but then your vagus nerve activates to help your body adapt and return to baseline. This process of activation, followed by recovery, helps strengthen your vagus nerve's regulatory capacity over time. Many people find that regular cold exposure not only improves their stress resilience, but also enhances their ability to relax deeply when they're not exposed to stressors. Movement practices specifically designed to support vagal function can help restore your nervous system's natural flexibility. This isn't about intense exercise that might further activate your system, but gentle, rhythmic movements that support nervous system regulation. Yoga, Tai Chi, walking in nature, gentle stretching, or simple swaying movements can provide powerful vagal stimulation when approached mindfully. The key is movement that feels good in your body rather than movement that feels like another demand or challenge. Many people with vagal dysfunction have lost touch with the simple pleasure of moving their bodies in ways that feel nourishing and relaxing rather than effortful and goal-oriented. Vocalization and sound therapy offer unique pathways to vagal restoration because your vagus nerve directly innervates the muscles of your throat and vocal cords. Humming, singing, chanting, or even gargling can provide direct vagal stimulation while also helping discharge trapped tension and emotions. Many people find that vocal practices not only help them relax in the moment, but also gradually restore their capacity for relaxation over time. The vibrations created by vocalization seem to have particularly profound effects on nervous system regulation, possibly because they directly stimulate vagal pathways while also providing emotional release. Social connection and co-regulation are crucial for restoring vagal function, though this can be challenging for people whose dysfunction makes social interaction feel effortful rather than restorative, gradually building relationships that feel genuinely safe and supportive can provide the co-regulation opportunities that help restore your nervous system's natural capacity for relaxation. This might start with very safe connections, perhaps with pets, nature, or one or two carefully chosen individuals who feel genuinely calming to be around. As your vagal function improves, you can gradually expand your capacity for social connection and access the powerful nervous system benefits that healthy relationships provide. Environmental modifications can significantly support vagal restoration by reducing the constant stream of subtle stressors that maintain chronic activation. Creating spaces that feel genuinely peaceful and safe can help your nervous system begin to relax its vigilant monitoring for threats. This might involve adjusting lighting, reducing noise, improving air quality, or simply ensuring that you have comfortable, private spaces where you can practice relaxation without interruption. Professional support is often valuable for addressing vagal dysfunction, particularly when it's related to trauma or has been ongoing for extended periods. Therapists who understand nervous system function, somatic practitioners, and other trauma-informed professionals can provide the safety and expertise needed to restore vagal function without overwhelming your already sensitive system. Working with professionals who understand polyvagal theory and nervous system regulation can ensure that your healing process is appropriately paced and supported. They can help you recognize when you're pushing too hard or when you need additional support and provide tools for managing any temporary increases in anxiety or activation that sometimes occur during nervous system healing. The timeline for restoring vagal function varies significantly between individuals, but most people begin noticing improvements within weeks of consistent practice. Early signs might include slightly deeper breathing, moments of unexpected calm, better sleep quality, or reduced reactivity to minor stressors. Deeper changes typically unfold over months of consistent practice and often involve gradual expansion of your capacity to feel safe and relaxed in various situations. The long-term vision of healing vagal dysfunction goes beyond just being able to relax. The goal is restoring your nervous system's natural flexibility, the ability to activate appropriately when challenges arise, and then return to states of calm presence when activation is no longer needed. This creates genuine resilience rather than just better stress management. Many people describe the process of healing vagal dysfunction as remembering how to be in their bodies. They reconnect with the simple pleasure of feeling calm and present, the joy of being able to truly rest, and the satisfaction of feeling grounded and peaceful in their own skin. They develop confidence in their nervous system's ability to handle stress without getting stuck in chronic activation. Your inability to relax isn't a character flaw or a sign that you're not trying hard enough. It's a sign that your vagus nerve, the remarkable nerve that's been coordinating your body's responses since before you were born, needs specific support to restore its natural regulatory capacity. Understanding vagal dysfunction as the root cause of chronic tension opens up entirely new approaches to healing that work with your body's existing systems rather than against them. Your vagus nerve is waiting to help you rediscover what genuine relaxation feels like, not the forced, effortful attempt to calm down, but the natural, effortless settling that happens when your nervous system feels safe enough to truly let go. With the right understanding and support, you can restore your birthright of feeling peaceful and at ease in your own body.